NBA 2K used to be my all-time favorite online game to play. As somebody that is a huge fan of basketball, plays, watches it, breathes, eats, sleeps basketball most of the time, it's hard to pass up on moments like this. As somebody that tries to play as many different games as they can and have a great time in all of them, no matter if it was Battlefront, Battlefield, Call of Duty, NBA 2K, Smite, it didn't matter what game I was playing, I always tried to enjoy it. But no matter the game I was playing, I never played the game by myself. I always had to play it with a group of friends. That is until I started playing NBA 2K. Now, of course, I do have a passion for basketball, so this is 100% where it's coming from. I have, of course, met people that didn't really follow basketball, didn't really watch it or care to play it. Maybe sometimes did with their friends, but other than that, never took it serious. Now, that's entirely okay. You don't have to play the sport in order to play this video game. This game offers a lot of different things to different people. Personally, I started playing 2K when NBA 2K17 came out. For all the OGs that started playing in NBA 2K16, I didn't get to enjoy any of that, but 17 was my very first 2K ever. Now, one thing I want to point out is that this game has stuck with me for so long that I tend to try to make the first player I ever made in every single 2K. Now, for anyone that is a huge fan of 2K, back in 2K17, you had to have specific height requirements and weight requirements to get additional attributes. Sounds weird, I know. Welcome to video games, right? So if I had made a 6'4" shot creator, which was basically you had to pick a specific class, as playmaker, shot creator, glass cleaner, lockdowns, and slashers, all the basic ones, right? It gets more advanced as the years go on. Anyway, I had made a 6'5" shot creator. If I had made him 1 inch smaller, or like even smaller, I could have unlocked these really cool dribbles called the momentum dribbles that helps you out and it just speeds up the player. Now, I was a little bummed out when I found out about it. Of course, I ended up making a whole new player and practicing on that guy, but for some reason, I was really attached to my 6'5" shot creator. Reason being is I had to use really simple moves to get by. Now, back in NBA 2K17, a lot of the moves were pretty standstill dribbling, you couldn't move, so it was pretty hard. I had to find a way to kind of get my own momentum without necessarily using the quote-unquote cheesy dribbles. Now, one of my absolute favorite things about multiplayer games is other people's reactions. Listening to people talk about my build just being different or how I play on it, or that my shot is crazy or I've mastered something in this game made me, of course, feel really good. The difference was they knew that I wasn't out here doing what everybody else was doing. Now, that is the #1 problem in 2K for me, or I guess in general. I say for me because I see it as a personal problem, right? But everyone tends to try to make meta builds, the best builds in the game. They YouTube everything and don't come up with anything creative. Now, I understand it can be very scary trying to make a whole new character with all these different stats and different dribble moves, and you just want to make the best player overall. I get that. Plus, it takes a while to grind this character out. You have to dump money into him most of the time to speed up the process, and it's just, again, overwhelming. I honestly believe that the biggest problem with this game is people care way too much about winning. Now, of course, who plays a game to lose? No one wants to sit here and lose constantly. It's super frustrating. I get it. But I feel like people take it a little too far when they all make the same meta build. You're all playing against a play shot, a perimeter lock, or a glass cleaner, or some sort of variation like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to play like that because it is super effective, right? And I'm sure it's quite fun. Winning is fun in general, so if you're winning, I'm sure you're having fun. I get it. But I feel like that plays a part to why this game has just died out. Now, of course, we can put a lot of the blame on the people that made this game. Now, I don't want to put the blame on the developers because I feel like they weren't really in charge of the say-sos, right? They didn't really, have an input. They were just forced to make this game. And personally, I think it feels really good. I think it is really fun, and it was popular for a reason, As popular as basketball is, the game is still really fun. I don't know why they ended up splitting everybody up. Now, what I mean by that is there's 4 different 2Ks per year, basically. There's old gen and next gen, and there's, two different consoles, so there's old gen and new gen, right? So to clear things up, if you have a PS4, you're forced to play on the PS4. But if you have the PS5, you can play the old gen game, but to play the new gen game, it's an entire different game. You have to pay for it, right? And again, the time that you're going to spend in one of those games is going to be crazy. And then a new 2K is going to come out next year, which some people don't get the new 2K every year. So that already splits everyone up. So it just becomes this big old mess. Speaking of big old messes, I feel like there are 3 big problems with this game. Now, of course, this is going to be my personal opinion, but I'm sure you guys will be able to relate to some of these. Number 1, being able to find a game. Sometimes I just want to get on, play a few games, and hop off. But you won't be able to find a game for what seems like hours. It'll be like 20-30 minutes sometimes even an hour, and that becomes just so annoying, mostly because of the whole community gap, but also it's also dying, so that's not helping it. But it's just not fun trying to play a game you enjoy and not being able to play it. Which brings me to number 2. Finally being able to play a game after, waiting forever and then being sold. It doesn't matter if it's your first game or whatever game, being sold sucks. Now, it's okay to miss. I'm not talking about like a missed shot as in being sold. It happens. Not to me, because I'm a god. I'm just kidding. Anyways, but it definitely happens. I'm talking about the people that really just do not care about winning, losing. They don't care about giving you the ball. They don't care about playing good or none of that. Now, again, you don't have to take this game serious. You don't have to take any game serious. But when it comes to this game, when it's a team sport, I feel like you kind of have to try a little bit more. Ironically, you don't even have to be good at this game to do well. You just have to play smart or apply simple basketball knowledge. Now again, if you don't know anything about basketball, watch a game or two, or try to find people that are somewhat decent at the game to help you understand things. And if you can't do that, well, get better. I mean, again, it's not hard to get good at the game. It's really not. It just takes time. You don't have to YouTube a bunch of things. For example, I've never YouTubed a jump shot. I've had this same jump shot since 2K17. I know so many different people that will change their jump shots so much. Now, if it helps them out, sure, I'm sure there's some sort of strategy to that. But I promise you, I can confidently say that with all the experience I have in shooting in NBA 2K, that I'm one of the greatest shooters to ever play this game. I'm talking about the shots I take and the shots I make. I'm fading from 3. I'll post fade from 3. Dude, I'll do a step back limitless range and try to green it. There's spin jumper 3s I've done. There's so many different things that I've done that were just like, why would you do it? Well, because it's fun to try to time these things, or it's fun to like listen to other people's reactions, because you don't see people attempting these shots constantly. Now, on to number 3, which I don't want to spend too much time talking about because we talked about it earlier, which was the meta lineups. I can't be the only one being burnt out from seeing these, right? Or just playing against them. Now, I'm not saying you have to sit there in the My Player or the My Creator tool thing and try to come up with the most unique build that no one's ever seen. What I did was try to make the same build I fell in love with back in 2K17. I could have made a tiny shot creator and got really good with that, but I didn't want to. And again, I'm not saying you have to be me to enjoy the game, right? I just think that as a whole, you could probably enjoy it more if you ended up making something that was more your playstyle instead of watching somebody play the game that was good at the game is telling you to make this build because they're telling you it's good. You can make practically anything and be good. You just got to spend the time with that character. Now, the character that you're using will always be good, I promise you, right? Very rarely can you make it bad, okay? Don't be scared about thinking that you have the worst 2K My Player ever. It's not the case. Okay, for a while, I thought the character I was using in this game was terrible. It just took me a while to figure out how the game works. What's funny, to some people, the character that I use might be the worst character they've ever seen or ever used, or it's not quote-unquote comp. They could even probably shut me out 21-0. But it's not going to stop me from enjoying the game the way I like to play. I'll continue to play this game this way. I've played other different lineups and other different play styles, but this has always been my favorite. It stuck with me the most. So I'm excited to hear what your favorite type of play style is. Do you like threes? Do you like dunks? Do you want a combination of both? That is something that I was trying to work on. And if you're interested, I will show you the type of build that I made. Anyways, I'm your average gamer. I
Missed,
hope
I
you
don't know
guys
what to
enjoyed this
say.
video. If you did, like, comment, sub would of course mean the world, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.